What's up, guys? It's Movie Buff, and we are going to talk about some Men in Black International. I've loved Men in Black ever since the first one. That was an old school jam of mine. Will Smith has always been like one of my favorite actors, and him and Tommy Lee Jones just played off so great. So the rest of the installments, I wasn't like, after the first one, it was like, oh, okay, they're okay. Like, I like aliens, and it was like a cool premise, but I was really excited for this iteration because you've got Tessa Thompson and you've got Chris Hemsworth, and they played awesome off each other in the Ragnarok movie, the Thor movie that they were both in together. So I was really excited. Plus, you've got Liam Neeson, who, you can't really beat him. He's a great actor. So it sounded cool. I liked all the premise. I liked where the story was kind of headed as far as like a continuation. This is after Will Smith. This is not no prequel stuff like they tried to do before with the second one. The trailer and even the poster, now that you look at it, you can see the worms, and you can see, I can't remember if his name was Doug, but the pug that's an alien and stuff. Those guys are barely in the movie. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of, I wouldn't say the poster or the movie kind of lies to you, but there's not that many aliens in this movie. There are, but there's not. There's some main characters in the movie that you kind of like get to see and like figure out who they are and how they go with the story, but it's not like the first one where, it's just alien after alien after alien. They did a good job of kind of like replicating the first time Will Smith walked in the Men in Black headquarters, and there's all these different aliens and shit going everywhere. They did a good job with that. I think they did a good job with all the casting. The acting was good. The storyline and the plot was kind of weak. My girl figured it out in the first 5 minutes of the movie. She's like, yep, he's the bad guy. So I won't ruin out who is the bad guy. I won't ruin the movie for you guys, but it is pretty, especially once she told me, I was like, yeah, that's kind of obvious, I guess. I was holding out hope it was going to have like a different twist on it, but it really didn't. It came exactly how she said it was going to be. But really, the movie is about Tessa Thompson when she's a little girl. Her parents get, flashed by the little beam, I can't remember what they call it, neuralizer. And so she doesn't get flashed. They tell the Men in Black that she's asleep so they don't worry about, neuralizing her memory. And she saves this little creature, and, she becomes obsessed. Like, her entire life is built on that one moment of, there's life out there, and I want to know everything, and I want to know the truth. And she's like top of the charts, smart, weapons, like any kind of tactical computer programming. She could basically work for NASA if she wanted to. Insanely high IQ, super driven. So she goes through all the CIA, the FBI, and she's all like, I want to work for the division that's not listed. And they're like, what are you talking about? So no one knows. And she kind of is like feeling like she's been crazy her whole life. And then there's this one instance where she's basically hacked into the NASA system and is tracking satellites or what could be alien activity. And she finally has like a breakthrough, and it leads her to the Men in Black headquarters. And she's basically like, you even see in the previews, like, I found you, like, I'm the best person you could ask for this job, because this is like impossible to find, and I found you guys. And so it does kind of impress. I think her name is O in the movie. She plays kind of like the Men in Black head of like the New York branch, and she's really actually a really good character in the movie. I really enjoyed her. The writing, I think, was just a little weak. These are two of the best actors out right now, and they went together so good in Thor Ragnarok. And this movie, it just kind of, I don't know, there was something missing. There was like a chemistry wasn't as strong. I know this movie is coming out now where there was a lot of like bad juju on the set. Like Sony came in and was like pushed around by the directors and the producers on like changing up the storylines, and like every time Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth showed up, there was like whole new scripts for them to read when they just memorized this one. And then both of them actually hired their own publicists to rewrite their scripts again. So this movie kind of had a lot of turmoil in the beginning of the shoot. There was a lot of rewrites. I think it's a 5 out of 6 out of 10 rated now. Not great, not terrible, but I would probably give it 5 out of 10. I would probably give it close to that. It was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't blow your socks off. It wasn't Men in Black 1. It wasn't Will Smith. Chris Hemsworth, I feel, had the potential to kind of riff off of a Will Smith-ish type character. But in this, he's more like a seasoned vet. Saved the world before, the best agent in the business. And Tessa Thompson, of course, wants to work with him as soon as she gets there. And they basically get kind of like stuck together in a way. They both really want to be stuck together, but they get stuck together on this assignment, and shit goes awry. And they basically find these beings called the Hive, who is, they can take you over, basically. So they could become anyone. They become humans. And I really, at first when I heard that, I was like, okay, gay, don't want to see it. I'm sick of, you take down this one queen and they all fall, like Avengers have done, like Suicide Squad did, like, all these movies, even to a certain extent of, Endgame. You take down Thanos, everybody falls. It was getting old. The way they did these villains was pretty cool. They're kind of almost like celestial beings. They can manipulate anything, really. Steel, earth, water, wind. They can just basically make it bend to their will in any way they want. So they were cool villains. It was a cool story up until a point, and then it just kind of stuck. And then there were cool, like action scenes. But we went to see this in the 4DX, which has water and wind and bubbles and flashing lights, and you're in this like roller coaster type, chair that moves with the action. And we were sitting still for most of the time. And it's like, this is supposed to be Men in Black. This is supposed to be like action packed. And when the action was on screen, it was cool. Aliens fighting the Men in Black. I mean, it was awesome. But there just wasn't a lot of it. Not enough for me. She really liked the movie. She liked it a lot better than I did. I'm not saying the movie's bad. I'm just saying maybe wait for Redbox. If you don't really want... If you're not really excited to see this movie, this isn't one I would run out and go see, for sure. Like I said, 5 out of 10, that's kind of like, I'm not mad I've seen it. I love movies, and I got a kick out of some of the stuff, and there was definitely some cool aliens, and some cool, obviously the Men in Black car, the guns, and Tessa Thompson does a really well job in this movie, even though she's really badly written. Her and Chris Hemsworth and pretty much everybody in the movie does a good job. You can just tell that the script kind of suffered. It just wasn't clever. There were so many moments that could have been better had there been a better script, better writing, and you could kind of tell that, and it kind of like takes you out of the movie a little bit. But nevertheless, I mean, if it's number one at the box office, that's not saying much because there's not shit out this weekend, like Pets 2, like no one's watching that unless you have kids. So it's not a really big victory. I mean, Endgame's starting to try to kind of trickle out, and then you've got all the others that are starting to come in. Everybody's kind of waiting on a new Spider-Man. So it made number one at the box office, but I think overall it's going to lose the studio money. Like I said, I'd probably wait for this one on Redbox. So until next time, guys, see you at the movies.